Hi there everyone, Lars here with a special review and recommendation for the Obsidian Archives, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers, because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends, and I have been granted a peek behind the Imperial Curtain to have a look into the story of the Obsidian Archives and the upcoming book around it, which is The Imp and the Prince. Now, the book The Imp and the Prince by Samuel Wilkinson, or The Obsidian Archivist, has no foreseeable publishing date as of right now, and that's because he is currently working through editing and querying this book. Querying meaning that the book is being submitted to multiple editors and agents, trying to see if anyone is interested in this particular story. However, the story is already up on YouTube, or at least a part of it. On top of that, complementing the book and the YouTube series are a bunch of animated shorts, giving us non-canonical situations in which the main characters do all different kinds of shenanigans and jokes. And while these segments are non-canonical for the most part, they do give us very interesting and valuable insights into who these characters are. And when I look at everything that the Obsidian Archivist is doing, it makes me realize this could very well be a powerful, potentially very rewarding avenue for other creators to take for their own stories. What if before your story ever had the chance to hit the market, you had already developed a large group of followers who are highly invested in your characters and with what they know of the main plot? That is what we have happening here. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the story in general without really any spoilers, at least in regards to the book, because I do not want to spoil anything that's in the book. Since I've been given permission to have a look at that, I will talk about instead what is available on YouTube, compare just a little bit to the book, and then talk about also all of the little animated shorts and how they come together to deliver a story that in many ways has kind of three faces to it, and if this could very well be a viable option for other creators to mimic. Now, the story of the Obsidian Archives largely revolves around Prince Malon and the Imp Princess of Hell, Ziria. These two characters form an unlikely friendship and bond based on the experiences that they've had together. In the YouTube series, we jump immediately to when Malon overthrows the Empire of Silica and frees Ziria from her prison. Now then, she is supposed to kind of get rid of him on the orders of her older brother D, who is an absolutely despicable character. Yes, he's made really funny in all of the shorts, but when you look at what he does in the main storyline, he's a really awful dude. And I will say this from the book, one of the creepiest scenes out of the book that was very well delivered is when we are first introduced to D. If you thought that how he was introduced was creepy in the YouTube series, let me just say this, the book delivers on a magnitude of 10. Holy crap. But ultimately for Ziria herself, she just wants to be free. But as we get in the very first episode of the Obsidian Archives, fate is not something that any one person can control. And the idea that you can is, well, cute. However, Ziria sees potentially a lot of herself in Malon, in how he has been treated, and how he's been able to rise above it all, to try to seize the throne of the Pendragon family name, to unite humanity under a common banner, and go against all of his enemies, both from within and from without. This man is going against so many people who wish to use him or destroy him, and thus far, he's done pretty well. He's defeated the Time Baron, which in the YouTube series isn't very well explained, but in the book, woo! Oh boy, there is some creepy, awesome stuff, and it's pretty incredible how a guy was able to beat someone who is so freaking OP. So, Malon's got a lot going for himself, even though he's teetering on the brink of ruin and destruction. Ziria sees a chance for freedom, for an alliance and possibly even a friendship. And in many ways, Milan kind of regards her the same. And so a human and an imp join forces during a time of absolute chaos. And this is something that I think is brilliant about this story, that the majority of the Obsidian Archives takes place immediately after the great overthrow of the Silica Empire and the beginning, potentially, of the Obsidian Empire under Malon Pendragon. However, there is now a vacuum of power. There's a power vacuum that so many people wish to fill. And the prince is surrounded by individuals who would either love to use him or kill him in order to take his place. So he has to navigate all of this, and it's super treacherous, and having a demon at his side has made it only all the more complicated. And so you've got these two characters trying to figure out their destinies, figure out their relationship with each other, while dealing with the political ramifications of overthrowing an entire empire. There's a whole lot going on. Now, like I said, I wasn't going to spoil the book, but an element that the book does bring in is that we get to see other characters in the future reflecting on the events of the past. And we get to see how some of those events have been meddled with in terms of people's recollection. The history has been rewritten. And so we get to see this conflict across timelines, and it makes you wonder, what really happened? Who really are these characters? It's a very, very ambitious story. And as the Obsidian Archivist told me, this is basically in a way kind of like Game of Thrones meets 1984, which again is very ambitious, and I am here to see it. Now, one thing that potential viewers and readers should go in knowing is that very few characters in this series are truly good people. Instead, you have a lot of morally gray characters and then a lot of outright villains, which might make it difficult for some people to find someone to truly root for. However, if you're willing to embrace the messiness of the situation and of who these characters are, I think you will be well rewarded. But one thing that I think a lot of people will agree with me on is that as you start diving deeper into the story, you truly want to know more. There's a lot of history and a lot of characters and their backgrounds and some of their motivations that feel like they've been left on the cutting room floor. Now, this is something that can be added on in spin-offs or little add-on stories here and there, depending on what the Obsidian Archivist wants to do. There's so much to this world, so much to these characters, and so much of the story that can still be told that I would love to see told, and I'm willing to wait to see what he's all got planned for later installments. Now, if you jump into the series as it currently stands on YouTube, it only covers a fraction of what the Obsidian Archivist has so far written for his book. However, it still delivers quite substantially on a lot of the major events that do happen, from the overthrow of the Empire all the way to a certain betrayal. Oh, there are a lot of twists and turns that I was not expecting with this story. It really is Game of Thrones-esque, and once you get more of the story, you can also see the 1984 aspects interwoven in, and it is absolutely glorious. Though at times I feel like it is precariously perched on the precipice of ruin because, again, it seems like a lot of information was kind of left out, which would be really helpful to understand certain things that are going on, but let the author cook, and also there are still plenty of revisions for the main story that are yet to be done. The YouTube story, on the other hand, has boiled everything down to what you absolutely need to know in order to fully understand what is happening with Malon and with Ziria. So what you just watch on YouTube is actually totally fine and delivers a good story. The book, I think, can deliver even better, which is something that I'm very excited for whenever it gets picked up and published. Now, what about all of these little non-canonical shorts? Well, if you watch them, you get to see the personalities of Ziria, of her brother D, and of Malon put on full display, but in various situations. And it is usually played up for humor. And what I like about this particular approach is that it gives us a chance not only to learn more about these characters, but also it helps to advertise to the world the story that is currently being written and told. If you like what you see here in these little shorts, then you're probably going to enjoy the story. And once you've read or watched the story, you can then look back on these shorts and they have even more meaning and humor to them, which I find to be pretty awesome. This is a really smart move on the part of the Obsidian Archivist. And this is where I think other creators can kind of take a leaf out of his book and say, okay then, if I want people to get to know my story before my story's even been released, what if I shared excerpts from it? What if I shared bits about my characters? I can either share direct things out of the canon of their own history, or I can create really fun art that is going to entice people to come and have a look at it and fall in love with these characters. Sure, it's non-canonical, but the characters are true to who they are. And if they like the characters in this format, there's a good chance that they will like the characters in the canon story. Now, another strong element of this particular approach is that it keeps the hype train going without losing steam. If you are constantly giving people little updates and little fun things here and there about your characters and your world and what you're planning to do, it keeps people engaged, it keeps them interested and invested. If you drop an amazing trailer or an amazing pitch to a story and people are just blown away, like, oh, this sounds so amazing, and then you don't really do anything with that for a very long time, you lose people's interest. This unfortunately happened with Glitch Productions when they were like, hey, you know what? We are going to adapt the Gaslight District. We're going to take that idea and we're going to turn it into a complete show. People went absolutely cuckoo and bananas, really excited for this dark fantasy story, and then we heard nothing of it for the longest time. True, we are being held over by stuff from Murder Drones, The Amazing Digital Circus, but for the people who really wanted to know about the Gaslight District, there was nothing. It was a barren wasteland of updates, and as such, it took people by surprise when like, wait, what? Oh, you are still working on this? Wow. And in that wasteland of updates, there are people who will have dropped out and said, I don't believe that you're giving the story your fullest attention. Therefore, I don't think it's going to be that great when it comes out. Compare that then with the Obsidian Archivist, who is still working on his book and on future installments for the story on YouTube, but at the same time is delivering all of these fun little moments, these little clips and shorts that allow you to have fun, to get to know these characters, to get little updates and just be like, yes, he's still working on it. You keep on working on it. I'm so excited for what you're going to do next. The difference in reception is very important because one kind of forgets your audience and the other encourages your audience, which you want because you will not be able to survive as a storyteller unless people are excited for your stories and are willing to consume them and enjoy them. And not only that, but you want a happy and large fan base who say, wow, you know what, you've treated us so well and we love your story so much that we're going to share it with other people. And so they begin passing along the good word of your story to other people. And one of the best ways that you can do this is through art. Art speaks to people on a level that simple written prose just doesn't. And as a writer, I love writing my prose. I love writing my long stories and all of my fantastic pages and my little quippy quotes every now and then. But as powerful or as fun as they might be on their own, art just is universal. It can speak to people who don't speak English like I do, and as a result can make them interested in the story, and I can pull in way more people through art. The Obsidian Archivist has already cast a really wide net and has been gaining a fair number of followers and subscribers way faster than I have, thanks to his artistic approach. And so while this kind of leads the story again to have three faces, There's the book, which delves into the far deeper, meatier story, giving us way more information that puts everything into its proper context. We get to know who these characters really are and delivers some really impactful moments. You have the book, which again has yet to come out. It's right now being worked on. You then have the animated rendition, which is a little bit more bare bones, but delivers on the most important aspects of the story thus far. And then you have the non-canonical shorts. These are the three different faces to the story. And the great thing about this approach is that it provides something for nearly everyone to potentially fall in love with and support. This is a really great marketing approach. It's also a really great artistic approach as well, because as the Obsidian Archivist is discovering, as I've had the chance to talk with him, querying a book sucks because it takes forever to get recognized if you even do. Honestly, a lot of authors feel absolutely powerless in the querying process because you never know what's going to work. You can do your absolute best day after day after day with all of these submissions, and you can fail in every single one of them. It is depressing and discouraging, and it often breaks people's will to continue creating because it's so discouraging. It's really kind of demented that way. However, if you still have this creative outlet that allows you to enjoy your own story and continue to explore it without the need and permission of agents, publishers, and editors, that is very liberating and very ennobling and very empowering to the creator. On top of keeping the creative energy high, it allows the creator, again, to reach out to more people and be free of the querying and publishing process. However, it is very important to note that going this more crowdfunding-esque route does not have the same power and reach as being traditionally published and released. In this case, the Obsidian Archivist, again, is casting his net wide, hoping to get the best of all options. And we still have to wait to see what happens down the road. But if it works out, whenever the book gets picked up to then be properly edited and published and released to the wide world, there will already be a significant number of people who are hyped for the story, ready to buy it and to enjoy it and to share it with more people. So if you yourself are a creator who wants to get your story on out there, but you're feeling a little bit daunted by going the traditional route, but you know that, again, the traditional route is the better route to go in terms of money and support, why not also try to reach out to more people at a grassroots level through engaging, interesting, and artistic avenues, either through little comics, through little animations, through fun updates, or whatever it is. You need to find some kind of creative way to keep the story going, to introduce people to your characters, possibly in a non-canonical way, or maybe in a small canonical way, so that way people get to know your story, get to know your characters, fall in love with them. Constantly give them little updates, little nuggets, little bursts of fun, so that way they feel engaged, they don't feel forgotten, and they realize that you're still working on your story, building up to that great moment where you are hopefully picked up and published and are able to deliver your story to a much wider audience, and they will be there to support you. I personally feel like this is the strongest route to go for indie creators, but it is also a route that does require more effort on your part and possibly even greater investment, especially if you're going to go the route of animation. So, to answer those particular questions and the likes, I have been in contact with the Obsidian Archivist to set up an interview. We're going to try to get an interview done here really soon, where I'll have the chance to talk with him about his story, his method, what his game plan is, along with other things as well. And I hope that that will be a very informative interview for any other creator out there who is looking to potentially try out this route, or who is looking for other ways to get their story out there. Because there is far more than just simple traditional publishing, or rejecting traditional publishing and going the indie route. That's a wide chasm that is filled with possibility, and I personally believe that the Obsidian Archivist has discovered what might be one of the best avenues But we're going to have to hear from him and hear about his journey directly, and that is what the interview is there for. So if you want to be there for that, please make sure that you've subscribed and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our future videos. We hope to have that out very soon. And in the meantime, if you would like to support the work that we do here, then please check out the books that we ourselves have published. Links for them are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure that we call writing, and until the next video, y'all, tschüss.